Hi, friends. In our time together today, I'm sharing some information about the whistles we play, but also I'm really bringing a question from the community to the community. Let me start with a question. You see, a few folks in the community want to know what whistle accepts being overblown. You know, there's some folks that like a whistle that you could just play gently and easily. And a lot of folks talk about that. But there are a number of folks out there that like to push it harder, that want to be able to just blow with a stronger pressure. So, what whistles do you like that fit that category? I'm going to share some examples, and we're going to talk. I do want to talk about how whistles are different. I want to talk about how people's preference is different, and I even want to mention that each tune you play is a little different. Remember the question at hand, though. What whistle accepts being overblown? The easiest answer out of the gate is no whistle accepts being overblown. if you think about it from like the standpoint, I've got the Thornton V6 here. This whistle takes more oomph to play it, but it takes more oomph compared to easy blowing whistles. But I could overblow it to the point that the tone just collapses. And I know that's not, the question is not, what whistle could I play until the tone collapses? What whistle could I blow a lot harder into and still enjoy playing it and still get good tone? You see, every whistle's different, and we've talked about this. And I don't want to beat this horse, but there are whistles that are, you just gently almost breathe into them when they play, and then you can increase the pressure some. But when you hear me do a whistle test, I always do that volume test as to what kind of range of volume do I get. And that's a factor of a whistle accepting more pressure, more hard blowing from the player. But if you increase your breath pressure and the tone cracks immediately on a whistle, well, some people don't mind that at all, and some people do. So what whistles? Please stick all your comments in the comments to this video so that everybody could read them, because that's what we're after. Because our friends in the community want to know, and it's the comments where we're going to get that. So what whistles really permit you to just push them in the lower and the upper octave? Now, here's another interesting factor about whistles. A whistle that accepts harder breath pressure in the second octave doesn't always accept the same level of pressure in the lower octave. A couple examples here. I'm going to do a low D. I've got the MK Pro. I'm doing this because it's chilly and I should have warmed it up. If playing the second octave, see, I've got to really lean into that. And if it was warmed up, it would be easier. That's another function of whistles. Bear that in mind. Warm your whistle up, my friends. But if I took that pressure and started playing the first octave, I can't play. If that same breath pressure, I can't play the second octave. I've got to back it off. That actually is a function of every whistle, because we're not using like an octave key like I would on my saxophone to jump to the second octave. We're using our breath pressure. So by nature, the first octave takes less breath pressure than the second. You then have to start leaning into the second. However, and I'm going to grab the whistle, aluminum bodied here, some whistles, and the MK Pro does this, but I just like grabbing whistles. The whistle permits a good fat range, not low D. I've done this before, but let's just an example. Can really lean into playing that. And then when you get into the second octave, like my house is vibrating. See, that's really cool. When I got my Roy McManus High D, when I wanted to order it, I told you this before. I asked him about ordering a whistle, and he sends me an email back. He says, "Are you sure? Because you really have to blow hard for my whistle to work, especially in the second octave." And that's pretty cool. So now, that's the nature of whistles. There are a number of factors I just shared. And very briefly, the nature of a player. I've referenced this, but some people just want a gentle whistle. They want that light breath. They want, because there is something about a whistle that accepts a lot more pressure that often means the volume's a little higher. And I am wearing hearing protection for this video today, my friends, because I'm protecting the ears. But you have preferences. And so you have a preference and you choose a whistle based on that preference. But you also need to bear in mind that since, as we said, every whistle has a characteristic, that also means that every whistle, we need to learn that whistle. Come back to the Thornton. I had to learn, when I got the Thornton, I had a hard time with playing the second octave because it looked so much like my Killarney. And I had to get out of my brain that it looks like the Killarney. Don't play it like the Killarney. Play it like your McManus. And then I was fine with it. So you need to learn the whistle, the lower octave, the second octave. Thirdly, so every whistle's different. So friends, comment which whistles permit you to blow hard into them and will accept it. I've got some examples I'm going to share in a minute. Each player has a preference. Third, tunes. So like if I'm playing, like in yesterday's video, I sing of that night in Bethlehem. And that to me is a gentle, flowing, emotive tune that I don't want to get too loud on. And so I don't want a whistle that's going to yell. But then there are other tunes where I don't want a quiet whistle. I want that whistle to be dominantly present. And so that's one of the reasons I like to have multiple whistles, is because the whistle brings something to the table. Anyway, let's get back to this question and let me start sharing some examples. Okay, so that sets a stage. What whistles do you know that really permit a lot of air volume and push pressure going into them? Every whistle's different. And whistles are different in the first and the second octave from a breath pressure standpoint, because that is how you break into the second octave. And it's different again when you're breaking into the third octave from a pressure, volume, push of air, velocity of air standpoint. Every individual player has desires, and tunes sometimes request different things. Let me show a couple examples. Because what I find, you all know that I have a few whistles, because I love to share whistles with you all. And so when I play one whistle, and you will notice this when I'm sharing a video with multiple whistles of different characteristics. Because if I play a whistle, so this is the Thornton V6, this is the Killarney, held a little far apart, like a little closer together. You could see the tube size is different. The thickness of the material, the airway is not much different going in, but I can't cut this in half to tell you what's happening in there, but I know different things are happening in there. So when I play the V6 and then I pick up the Thornton, I can't play when I play the Thornton V6 and I pick up a Killarney, I have to reset my brain. But you can overblow it. So the Thornton V6, in answer to our friend's question, permits a good amount of pressure being played. It took me a bit to learn it. But you see, if I overblow that first octave, it'll start breaking. So you do have to be careful. Now I'm going to pick up the Killarney. Oh, sorry. That's exactly what I mean. I can go into the second octave. Okay. Dial back breath pressure. Be gentle, be gentle. See, that was hard for me. And I don't think the amount for the Killarney, I need about the same amount of air to play the top of the second octave on the Killarney as I do to play anything on the Thornton V6. And the same for the McManus. Let me do something different. This is a Goldfinch, the high D, and I'm just play a little bit. It's gentle. I did the second octave, a little of the first. Let's see if I can even play the McManus after that. I'm going to use about the same pressure. I'm losing some of the fullness. So I've got to change up what I'm doing. But for those who are saying what whistle permits good, strong breath, a lot of people say those then tend to be more expressive whistles. And I actually find that a whistle that really permits good, strong breath sometimes enables a third octave jump more. Just a couple other high Ds. There are so many I could mention. Let's see. Oh, I gotta grab. Okay. The Thornton. Doesn't require as much breath pressure, permit as much breath pressure as like the McManus, but it's close. And I think the lower octave may even be a little fatter. However, and interestingly, the Jonathan Swain, The swing really requires you to just please blow hard. That's what the Jonathan Swain's saying to me. Interestingly, one more high D, and I'm going to show a few low Ds, and then I need to hear from you all. This is the Susato. Some people say they love it. Some people say they're not excited about that ABS tone. But the Susato, not the Oriole, but the regular Kelishek Susato. You really have to give this puppy some oomph. And so that's good on a high D. Let me show you a few low Ds, and then I need you guys to just dump lots of comments in here. All right, bucking the trend of, because the Burke Viper low D requires, it uses a little more air, but you could really push this puppy. There's just such a great push in the lower octave. Now, you can overblow it. Overblow generally means you break the tone. I'm trying to blow just under where it's breaking. Second octave. And I need to apologize to my microphone for doing all this craziness. The Quissel aluminum whistle and the Quissel polymer both permit a lot of good push. The range of the bell note, that bottom note, may not be as big as on the Burke, but the rest of it, the Burke may not be as much, because I was really pushing there. In the first octave, that's pretty impressive. Starting the first octave G, and I'm going to push. I can't break it. Could I break the Burke on the second octave? Oh, sorry. I was using the same breath pressure. See, the Burke takes less breath pressure there. Yeah, the Quissel accepts more. The MK Pro. Interestingly, the first octave on the MK Pro, this is one of the traditional hard blowers. The first octave on the MK Pro doesn't accept as much pressure, hard blowing, as the Burke and the Quissel. Either Quissel, by the way. That's a G. I get to the C sharp, I can really lean in and just blow some air into it. It's the second octave. Yeah, I can actually bring it to a breaking point, though, up in the F sharp. At about the G in the second octave. From that point forward, I can't overblow it to the point of breaking it. I'm really having to push the second octave E on the Quissel to get it to a fuzziness, I'm ready to fall apart tone quality. I'm looking. I'm just thinking. Most of my other whistles are medium to easier blowers. Yeah, no, I thought the Sin might be another example, but it doesn't permit anything near those others. Now, one comment. I know some of you own whistles from Goldie. I need to order one from Goldie. I'm still trying to decide where I want that breath pressure. Colin makes what he'll call a hard blowing whistle. I don't know how that responds in the first octave as compared to the second octave. Can you really, this is a question for you all, can you really lean into that first octave and just push that thing? I think that's my guess, but I need you all, please comment. I believe Colin Goldie, now our friends are like, I need a whistle that just permits me to just hammer the thing with air. I imagine you could buy a hard blower from Colin and accomplish that. This is where the community really needs to help. Anyway, so those are some great examples, and I hope that's helpful. My friends, remember I've got a little ringing in my ears, even with my hearing protection in. Remember the question: what whistle? High D, low D, some intermediate keys. We have some friends asking, and I really appreciate that. I love questions and answers from the community. So you all, tons of comments, please, because I and our friends would like to know. I guess that's it. If you're brand new and checking us out because of the video, please subscribe. We'd love to welcome you in because we're a community of folks helping each other learn to play the whistle better and better and better, and even know what whistle will combine with our playing style. So until next time, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling, my friends.